Horia Niculescu. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for joining. First and foremost, this is important, right? We gather as a community and share some of our experience, either success stories or lessons learned from our projects. I'm Horia. I'm a customer engineer. This means that I help teams, organizations deliver on their projects. I offer consultancy at Google Cloud, and of course, my focus is Google. Now, for today, we will talk about AI and ML. And I promised three things when I was writing the description of my keynote. I promised three things there. First is a framework to assess if the current hype over AI it's a fad or it's here to stay. Second is what's our role, the people in this room, what's our role in all this story? And third is how can we maximize our impact as professionals in the data market. So for the first part, I will share with you a framework on how to assess if a given technology is a fad or not. Is the one that I use. Of course, there are so many others. And then again, when we think of our role, of our mission as data professionals, then I will somehow take a Socratic approach, more asking questions than answering them. And then on maximizing our impact, I will have a set of examples and how to implement the AI. Of course, we will also have a bit of time at the end, maybe 5 minutes or more for open questions. So if you have questions, note them down, and then we'll cover them at the end. Okay, so is the current AI hype a fad or not? A fad, of course, it means, like it's an empty balloon and it will pass. So the framework that I propose to approach this topic is the adjacent possible. I've read about the adjacent possible from Stephen Johnson in his book, how good ideas where good ideas come from, and I totally recommend it. And what he says there is that the adjacent possible are all the changes that are possible from our current state right now, and where we can land if we apply these changes. Now, why is this important? Because some of the technologies, are bubbles that cannot scale over their current setup, right? We cannot push them forward. I also have an example, for example, NFTs, right? It was such a hype, and then again, we will compare right now Gen AI with NFTs and see where that leads us. Okay, now, having said this, let's take a very quick example, and let's try to make a test, right? Innovation is most likely to occur on its boundaries. So let's just think of it, this is why we have the spheres, right? You have your topic, and in this case, it would be AI or the internet or NFTs or whatever you want, like data lakes, data meshes, etc. And then you have enablers and unlocking new potential. So very quick exercise, the internet, right? This is a very easy exercise to do. What are the enablers for the internet, right? What were the technologies without which we could not have the internet? Well, you'd have the DNS, the TCP/IP, the World Wide Web, the HTTP, web servers, web browsers, and then packet switching MPCs. Now, without these, definitely the internet would have been postponed, and it would have had the adoption rate that it had. So these are the enablers, right? So the internet is an adjacent possibility on all of these technologies. And then I want to check, okay, so if those are the enablers, the requirements for this thing to lift off, then what does the internet enable? And of course, this is like very straightforward: artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud computing, 5G, quantum computing, digital assistant, and all this kind of stuff. Now, why is this important? Because it has a broad range of industries that it impacts, so this allows it to secure its place in our day-to-day lives. So this is the internet, that's nice. And then when we assess the impact of the internet, of course, I've picked 4 main topics, like Does it have a major paradigm shift? Does it impact how we think about a lot of domains? Is it easy to use? Does it have a mass adoption? And does it increase productivity? It's important for a technology that wants to stay and wants to grow and wants to expand in our lives. It's important to have all of these 4 elements. Okay, so that's nice. This is the internet. Now, what about other technologies? Internet, good, yay, that's nice. Let's talk about NFTs right now. Again, no hate, right? So if there's any fan here, I'm not attacking NFTs. It's just a fact. So let's see the major paradigm shift, right? Has it changed a lot of markets, a lot of domains? Well, not quite, right? You have the artistic domain where you can sell digital assets. Okay, that's nice. What else? I'm not talking about blockchain right now. I'm talking strictly about NFTs, right? All the fad was about NFTs. So there wasn't a major change in paradigms in a lot of industries. That's nice. Ubiquity and ease of access. Well, NFTs were quite easy to access. You've had them everywhere on your mobile phone or on your laptop, etc. So they were rather easy to access and almost everywhere, which is nice. Then again, if we check improved productivity across the board, like no way, it's not there. It's not our cup of tea. And then again, mass adoption. Well, we had it, but then again, that was for speculating the moment. But then again, it simply died. So, by using this framework and assessing this technology, we kind of see that NFTs are not a thing. This is why they dwindle down and are almost dead. Okay, so let's do exactly the same thing with AI right now, right? NFTs, again, no hate. I'm not attacking anyone in the room. Let's see the AI, the generative AI. Well, availability of large data sets, that's a must. We really need large data sets, and once we have this, we are enabled to push the AI frontier. Advanced in computing, ML algorithms, open source software. Again, this is one thing that I want to highlight with the open source software. GPUs, TPUs, whatever. So we have a lot of technology that needed to happen in order to enable AI. Okay, that's nice. Let's go to the next phase of this exercise. What is AI enabling? Let's see if it has an impact across the board on multiple technologies. And then, of course, the internet. And then we have self-driving cars. That's one big thing, but definitely not enough. Medical diagnosis, another big thing with high potential on improving our lives. Drug discovery, NLP, most of the talks right now with LLMs are in this category. Computer vision, RPA, generative AI, explainable AI, and responsible AI. I would highlight the responsible AI part because so far, except when our phones wouldn't take nice pictures or when our phones wouldn't recognize faces for particular skin tones or stuff like that, usually people wouldn't trigger on responsible AI. But right now, one of our biggest responsibilities is to implement AI in a responsible way. Okay, so if we're going to assess AI, right, as a technology right now, where would we be landing? A major paradigm shift in most of the industries, yes, definitely. You've seen it, right, in manufacturing, in healthcare, in education. And then ubiquity and ease of access, definitely yes, right? Like almost anyone can right now interact with an AI. That's our mission, to make it as easy as possible to interact with. Improve productivity across the board. I really don't want to enter because this is a non-topic. Definitely, that's its scope. And mass adoptions. I think this is one of the places where we need to push, and we'll see why. AI. Okay, it's here for the win. At least based on this analysis, right? We all have our frameworks, and this is one of the frameworks that I recommend you using. It's not a fad. It's here to stay. That's my verdict. Okay, so what's the outlook? Well, I really believe, based on this approach, based on this paradigm, that the next 2 years will be very positive. So it will continue to grow. And we'll see immediately why. Let's see. So first, major paradigm shift. Of course, we have healthcare, office work, finance, e-commerce, education. It's all over the place. Ease of access. We have it on the mobile, on the laptop, even on kiosks, right? Everywhere. Public sector, private sector, it's all over the place. The mass adoptions, my God, it's all generations, all types of incomes, all levels of education, all geographies, like it's all over the place. And then improve productivity across the board, yeah, definitely. So it's the perfect story, right? Yay, AI for the win. But I don't think so. Because there are still a lot of things that we need to do, and this is our responsibility right now, right? Do we need regulations? Do we need to improve the cost right now? Do we need to improve the fairness of our models? Do we need to increase the trust of everyone else in this technology? Maybe. The factfulness, the grounding of the results, definitely everybody talks about hallucinations of LLM models. That's a thing. It needs to be fixed. And of course, ethics. Because right now, it's so easy to influence people when using AI. So ethics, definitely, it's one of the big things that needs to happen all across the board. So no, it's not a perfect story. It's still in the making, and we are responsible for that, right? Everybody here in the room, everybody expects us as data professionals to push this topic forward. So it's our responsibility to push all those things. So what's the to-do list? I've chosen 10 things that we need to cover as professionals in order to make this technology work and to increase its adoption rates and to make it successful. Explainability and transparency, there are so many questions, like even these, all of the images that I've generated, right? I've generated them with Imagen, for example, and whenever I engage with teams, people are asking me, hey, where are the copyrights? Do I have a copyright over this image? Like, can I use it commercially, etc.? Definitely, we have the terms and conditions. You may use it there, but then again, it's the question, okay, but what have you used, right, to train your models to have these kind of things? Bias and fairness, again, I've tried initially in February, I've tried asking a joke to these models, like, hey, can you tell me a joke about black people? No, it could not. Can you tell me a joke about Asian people? No, it could not. Please tell me a joke about Indians. And then it told me a joke. Whoa, that's nasty, right? So this is the kind of thing that we need to fix the bias and then the fairness of all of our models. Of course, many things improved, but then again, we have so many things that we need to improve. Data privacy and security, we've all heard all of the topics. We also have some talks here today talking about that, reliability, human AI interactions, etc., etc. Now, I think that this is the to-do list that we should have in mind whenever we think of our medium to long-term projects. Of course, today we need to deliver the project, but in 2 years we need to have this in mind and put them on our roadmap and be sure that they are somehow included in the definition of done, or at least they are put on our 6 months to 12 months roadmap, and many, many more. Okay, so principles and regulation, the Socratic way. First and foremost, what are principles, right? So what are they? I don't know. I would define them as a set of inner conditions, of inner rules that one would apply whenever he or she operates. Okay, that's nice. Now, do we need principles? Well, maybe, like in order to have coherence in our day-to-day work, in our interactions, we would need principles. Do we have the same principles? I think this is where we start to diverge, right? I'm sure that I'm not 100% in line, in check with everybody here in the room, so maybe not. But then again, the question is, are regulations a shortcut to aligning principles? If we would agree on a set of rules, shared rules, would that align us somehow? And would we bypass our principles just in order to deliver the common good? And then the next question is, should AI be regulated? If we don't have the same principles, then should we somehow take one of these shortcuts, right? I won't answer this. But then again, I think that everybody should have this set of questions. Okay, so these are the principles and regulations. What about safety and security? At Google, we have this thing, right? Like, should people Google everything? Like, my God, they are Googling everything. They are searching almost everything. So from a wild mushroom, right? You take lens and you take a photo of the mushroom, to cloud types. Oh my God, will it be a storm or not? or to symptoms for a flu or for COVID, it starts to get serious. Or the correct dosage of 3 milliliters of Tylenol, or whatever we have here, right? Panadol, for a newborn. Should we search for that? Depends. But then again, in this case, should the results be safe? That's a really heavy question. And is only the trust at stake? Like, hey, my product may not be, may be hit by, publicity, a bad publicity if we give bad results, or is there something more with AI? And then again, if we start answering these questions, like we have the follow-up question. Should we expect people to use this technology and to push its boundaries? Are we at fault that our model gives the wrong answers, or are the other people at fault because they are asking crazy questions, right? So this is where safety and security kicks in. Censorship and responsibility, and with this I will end just to have a few questions. Now, for censorship and responsibility, it's the topic of how should we train our models? Should we clean the input data? Should we start censorship, the world as it is, just to make the model safe? Or should we include all the data with all the bad things that are happening in this world, let the model learn, and then somehow try to clean it up, right? That's a very important question that we all have whenever we train these type of models. It's a really big question that we need to answer. So is there a middle ground? Like, okay, let's censor something, but also let's deploy more effort on developing our API layers of including security, safety checks, etc. So that's the middle ground question. And if so, who decides these boundaries, right? Us, everyone here in the room. If we're not training yet these kind of models, then I'm sure, as you've seen, the trend is there. In the next 1 or 2 years, most of everyone here would train models, or at least adaptive layers on top of it, or at least somehow will enhance, fine-tune the models. And this is really important for us, because whenever we start engaging on this path, we really need to think on all of the consequences of our actions. Okay, I still have a few slides, but then again, we only have like 3 minutes, and I'm open to have like questions, and if you have any, please
So
shoot.
if anyone has questions, raise your hand. Someone will help you with the mic. Introduce yourself briefly, and then you can ask the question. So, yeah.
Hi, Horia. Very nice presentation. Thank you for sharing with us. My question is related to healthy sector. How do you see AI influencing this part?
Definitely. So that's a good question. AI definitely will spread out in all sectors, right? It's here to stay, and slowly we need to control the adoption rate, but it will be there. It's just a matter of balancing out, right? Safety, censorship, versus the the value that we provide to the end user. Just think. So your question might be, should I right now have access to one of these services, right? Like health services. When I have a dermatologist, for example, one of the biggest things, like is detecting melanoma. I have a small dot over here. Is it cancer? Is it not? Right? I take an app, I take a picture, bam, that's it. I have 60% chances of this being a melanoma. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not good. But then again, I could go to a dermatologist, right? But then again, think that you're in Africa or Asia or some remote corner of the world, right, where you don't have a dermatologist. I would switch the question and I would ask you, if you don't have any other alternative, should you use this kind of AI technology to at least somehow improve your quality of life? And then again, if you do this for those remote corners, should you also push it, right, to somewhere where you have alternatives? It's a question that we should all answer when we start engaging in this topic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you to hold your question, Horia. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I know you will be here today. So if anyone has questions for Horia, you can just approach him. He seems like a very friendly guy. It was nice meeting you, Horia. Thank you so much for your presentation. Round of applause for Horia, everyone.